might I present to you the most insane thing you are going to see all day?
Can men get pregnant?
Again, the reason I paused there is I'm not really sure what the goal of the question is.
The goal is just to establish a biological reality. You just said a moment ago that science and evidence should control, not politics.
Absolutely.
So let's just test that proposition. Can men get pregnant?
I take care of people with many identities.
If you thought the medical community was a disaster, just wait. There's a lot more of that, and you're gonna want to watch it. Welcome back to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. We are shooting from the bunker today, and I guess I should just say thanks to Will Kane for having me back on Fox News. It's always a pleasure. So obviously, things are not cooling off in Minneapolis, in Minnesota. It's actually just intensifying because there was another person shot by ICE in Minneapolis, and you're getting the exact same reaction from the left that you would expect. All feelings, absolutely no facts. I want to read the DHS statement that they put out about this latest shooting, and I kind of want to get into really the details that the left wants to conveniently leave out. Like, you might not hear these details on the CNNs and MSNBCs of the world. So DHS said at 6:50 p.m. Central Time, federal law enforcement officers were conducting a targeted traffic stop in Minneapolis of an illegal alien from Venezuela who was released into the country by Biden in 2022. Of course, they're always released by Biden. It's always Biden. In an attempt to evade arrest, the subject fled the scene in his vehicle and crashed into a parked car. The subject then fled on foot. The law enforcement officer caught up to the subject on foot and attempted to apprehend him when the subject began to resist and violently assault the officer. While the subject and law enforcement were in a struggle on the ground, two subjects came out of a nearby apartment and also attacked the law enforcement officer with a snow shovel and broom handle. As the officer was being ambushed and attacked by two individuals, the original subject got loose and began striking the officer with the shovel or broomstick, fearing for his life and safety. As he was being ambushed by three individuals, the officer fired a defensive shot to defend his life. The initial subject was hit in the leg. And then they go on to say all three of these losers, these criminals, ran back into the apartment, barricaded themselves inside. But it's like, I'm sorry, he was being attacked by three people, only fired one shot. That's way more restraint than I would show. Way more restraint than I would show. At this point, you have so many people going after ICE. You have so many people who mean to cause them harm. To me, it would be justifiable self-defense. A reasonable person would think that their life was in danger if someone yells at them, because they're getting that much hate. And as DHS did just point out, they pointed this out several times in the last month or so, they've got a 1,300% increase in assaults against federal agents, federal law enforcement officers. But it's just a 1,300% increase. Hey, could be worse. Could be 1,400, I guess, right? So this happens. This is clear case of self-defense. As it turns out, you can't just, beat ICE officers over the head with a broom handle. You can't do that. They have a right to defend themselves. You can't gang up on an ICE officer and expect him to not defend himself. But even so, you have the violent protests breaking out because liberals have never met an illegal or a criminal that they didn't love. That's just the way it is now. So they've got all of these, you see these flashbangs and fires being set. They really, really love the fires, particularly in Minnesota. But I mean, you see the fire, don't worry, it was mostly peaceful other than all of the violence and the riots. And you had rioters that even went to as far as they broke open, they're breaking into a federal vehicle and they're opening up a weapons locker. I'm kidding you not. This just happened last night on the streets of Minneapolis. They are stealing firearms from federal law enforcement. This is every one of them needs to be identified. And of course, they've got the phones here. World star hip hop. Please record your crime, idiots. So they're even taking all of the, I mean, this is every single one of these people needs to be found and imprisoned. You want to talk about needing to serve time. Who do you think deserves time in prison? The people who peacefully waved American flags through the Capitol, guided by police officers, or these people? If we can track down everyone in DC who was there on January 6th, we should be able to track down whoever the hell was breaking into a federal vehicle and stealing weapons. That needs to happen. And you know that it got bad because even the Minneapolis mayor, Jacob Frey, who is like, he's basically Somalian. I think he identifies as Somalian, even though he's this like limp-wristed white guy. Even Mayor Frey, who, again, has never met an illegal or a criminal he didn't love, he was even saying that they needed to go home.
And for anyone that is taking the bait tonight, stop. That is not helpful. Go home.
Go home. Now, I mean, of course, he did have to throw in the anyone taking the bait. Like, yeah, ICE officers just doing their jobs is totally taking bait, bro. Sure, whatever. Okay, sure. But Jacob Frey, I just want you to see how evil these people actually are, how ghoulish these people actually are, and how they know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. This isn't on accident. This is all by design. And so I want to play Jacob Frey, who says he's not doing anything to put ICE agents in harm's way. Him? Who? He? No, never. That would never be Jacob Frey.
So the question was, there has been the accusation that local officials have perhaps taken up the temperature in Minneapolis. First, I'll say, show me a single place where I have encouraged anything other than peace.
Show me one single place. Show me a single place where I have ever fanned the flames, stoked the fire of this controversy. Okay, Jacob. All right, go ahead. Roll the tape.
Let's be very clear. I've seen conduct from ICE that is disgusting and is intolerable. We don't use the word invasion lightly. What we are seeing is thousands, plural, thousands of federal agents coming into our city. They are not here to cause safety in this city. What they are doing is not to provide safety in America. Oopsies. What they are doing is causing chaos and distrust.
Oh.
And I have a message for ICE.
Okay.
To ICE, get the out of Minneapolis.
Oh.
We do not want you here.
That's very peaceful. That's very, very peaceful rhetoric coming from Jacob Frey, apparently, who says he's not the one. He's not the one that's trying to cause a problem. He's not the one trying to generate attention or controversy or fan the flames. That's not him. In fact, he and all of the elected officials in Minnesota have done nothing but try to promote peace. They've done nothing but try to just, listen, ICE officers are just doing their jobs. Just let them in. Let's listen to Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, who should be behind bars. I hope that he is. This year, I want to see Keith Ellison behind bars for his participation in all of the fraud that is happening in Minnesota. But I want to play for you his comments on Renee Good, on the woman who attempted to run an ICE officer over with her car. I want to play you his comments, and you tell me, are these elected officials actually trying to promote peace within the community?
Renee Good. I want you to remember her name. She's a martyr. She's sacrificed. She's been taken away from us, and we will never forget her. We'll always hold up her memory. Are we right? Yeah! And I want you to know that this lady, she died when she was trying to help the most vulnerable neighbors in our community. Gosh. That is when she lost her life, when she was giving of herself to protect others. And that is what you are doing today. You're not afraid of the cold. You're not afraid of ICE. You're standing up strong. And I am so incredibly proud of you.
She was just a martyr. She was giving up herself, her time, her energy to protect the community. Now, it's a community of fraudsters and criminals, of child diddlers, violent assaulters, rapists, murderers, people funneling taxpayer money to terror groups. She was a martyr. She was a martyr. You know who was a martyr? Charlie Kirk. You know who's not a martyr? The woman who tried to run over an ICE officer. Martyr, not a martyr. Very clear what she actually was. But these aren't the only elected officials in Minnesota, right? You still have Tampon Tim, Jazz Hands McGee, hosting streams, continuing to demonize ICE.
They're breaking windows, dragging pregnant women down the street, just plain grabbing Minnesotans and shoving them into unmarked vans.
Yes, that's what's
innocent
happening.
People
Sure.
with no warning and no due process. Let's be very, very clear.
Right.
This long ago stopped being a matter of immigration enforcement. Instead, it's a campaign of organized brutality against the people of Minnesota by our own federal government.
See, if you're listening, if you are listening to him, I mean, that sounds bad, right? They're coming to they're coming by the thousands to Minnesota, and they're dragging people out of cars, and they're like just taking random Minnesotans off the street and shoving them in a broom closet and locking the door behind them. I mean, that sounds really intense. That does kind of sound like the Gestapo. Maybe he has something. Maybe there's something to that. So if you're just listening to these people, these ghouls, you would think, actually, that does sound bad. If you're just watching the mainstream media clips, the clips where they show what I'm about to show you, people being dragged out of cars, you're like, oh my gosh, this looks really bad, until you hear the rest of the story. So let me show you the only thing you're going to see likely on CNN tonight.
I want to move my car! I am disabled! I have a brain injury!
Stay back.
I am autistic and I have a brain injury! Put me down!
I have a brain injury.
I'm autistic!
Oh my gosh. This poor disabled woman was just trying to get to the doctor. She has a brain injury. The injury is libtarded. She suffers from libtardation. Okay? But she has a brain injury and she's got to go to the doctor. Now, I wouldn't normally laugh at a brain injury. That actually is a serious problem, mostly among white liberal women, actually, as it turns out. But the reason I laugh about having a brain injury is that it's just like, it's just a lie. She just, you're going to be shocked to hear this. She just made it up for optics because she knew that people were recording her and she was trying to generate outrage against ICE. Let me show you from the Daily Mail. Shocking truth about Minneapolis woman dragged from car by ICE while screaming that she was on her way to a doctor's appointment. Turns out she's just another social justice activist who, according to DHS, was impeding their enforcement and blocking traffic. Her name is Aaliyah Rahman. And she actually is a social justice. She's a trainer. And that's when you know that you've made it big in life. That's when you know that your parents are likely very, very proud of you when you can call yourself a social justice trainer who dedicates your time to LGBTQ and racial injustice causes. And her Tech for Social Justice profile, because that's a thing, says that she identifies as being genderqueer, was dating a transgender man at the time, and claimed that due to the culture in rural Indiana, it was a necessity that she became involved in advocacy work. Hold on. She identifies as being genderqueer and was dating a transgender man. You quite literally are just taking extra steps to be gay, are you not? A transgender man is a woman, so just say you're a lesbian. You just say that you're gay. You don't have to take extra steps. That just seems pointless. You're just wasting energy. But this is their game. They set it all up. They want to look like oh my gosh, ICE is dragging away disabled people. They're pulling pregnant people out of cars. They're dragging people from the streets. If you live in Minnesota, you can't walk down the street and expect that ICE isn't just going to come up and capture you and kidnap you and your family's never going to see you again. This is their game. So I ask the question, Jacob Frey, who is baiting who? Who's doing the baiting here? ICE is literally going in to do their jobs. That's it. That's it. And you guys, for the outrage, for the clicks, for the views, are participating in a game. And unfortunately, that game results in ICE officers being more prone to being attacked. And that, my friends, is where the ghoulish label gets brought in. That is evil. Now, I'm wondering, where the hell are our troops? Where's the National Guard? It's high time that this is an insurrection. Like it is. Sorry, you want to compare this to what's happening, to what happened on January 6th. You tell me what the real insurrection is. And I'm like, where's President Trump on this? Well, apparently he finally is considering taking larger action and using the Insurrection Act. He said that if the corrupt politicians of Minnesota don't obey the law and stop the professional agitators and insurrectionists from attacking the patriots of ICE who are only trying to do their job, I will institute the Insurrection Act, which many presidents have done before me, and quickly put an end to the travesty that is taking place in that once great state. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President DJT. Guys, this shouldn't be a question. I don't know why, I don't know who is telling him mull this over. Stop mulling this over. Get your troops, whoever can come and fix the situation, get it under control. There is no reason to just allow this to continue in a state in this country. These lawmakers are too far gone. They're gone. They're off the reservation. They have a duty to protect their citizens, and they have chosen to not only abandon them, but attempt to make it worse. They have abjectly failed their citizens. They need your help, Mr. President. The citizens of Minnesota need your help. Because again, you notice that genderqueer, lesbian who doesn't understand she's just taking extra steps to just date a woman. She did mention that she was from Indiana. You've got infiltrators. You've got actually people. They keep saying, I don't use the term invasion easily. I would like to know how many people are on the streets of Minnesota right now, on the streets of Minneapolis right now, who don't actually live there. My guess, as it always happens, as it always takes place in these coordinated efforts where they bust people in and they all hold up the same damn sign, my guess is that quite a lot of them are from other places. That is the invasion going on. And President Trump needs to act on this. The rest of the country is watching in horror as this is allowed to happen in a state in the United States of America. Now, if you thought this was bad, just wait. There's more, because Renee Good's family is hiring George Floyd's lawyers. George Floyd's lawyers are going to investigate the ICE shooting. Now, I don't know what a lawyer thinks he's going to investigate. Okay, bro. I mean, unless you're the DA, you can investigate whatever you want, whatever facts you can get your grubby hands on. That's not going to result in anything. That's not going to yield any charges because some private lawyer is investigating. But they think that they're going to, crack the case? Case has already been cracked. It's actually already solved. Just call me Sherlock Holmes, okay? Because it's all on tape. It's all there. The country saw it. You're not going to make George Floyd happen again. You're not going to do it. The optics, by the way, not in the Democrats' favor. And I at least would just like to ask them to keep this energy moving into the midterms. Please keep this energy because the rest of America is watching this horror show and they want no part of it. All right, make sure that you are subscribed to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered and also Sara Gonzales TX. Our new channel. Got to make sure you're subscribed to both because we've got some fun stuff happening on that new channel. So make sure that you are subscribed to both and smash the like button. It'll help us out in the algorithm, which we all know is stacked against us. Comment. Let us know what you think of the horror show happening in Minnesota. I want to thank our sponsor this segment, Kindred Harvest. I should have thought, I'm at home right now in my bunker, I should have thought to go grab one of my tea tins from Kindred Harvest, but I love Kindred Harvest. We drink it at my home because we're very maha. And Kindred Harvest is the Maha answer to the tea industry. Because if you're buying tea from the grocery store, you're buying like these big name brands, and you think, even if you think like, oh, this is a clean tea, this is a nice tea, this is a detox tea. Actually, what's happening is you're getting likely tea from China, which is where most of those companies get their tea. And it's got microplastics and heavy metals and all sorts of nasty stuff you don't want in your body. You're actually drinking it in your tea. So Kindred Harvest is the American answer to that. It's third-party lab tested. There's zero heavy metals, zero microplastics, and it's made right here in the great USA. I'm not sure. I hope it's not made in Minnesota, because that place is not so great right now. But it is made here in America. They've got also, you can see it on the screen. They've got green tea, black tea, Earl gray tea. They've got immunity tea, which I love. They've got cinnamon apple. They've got a whole bunch of great flavors. Go check them out. Support this American company, and stop putting nasty chemicals in your body through your tea. KindredHarvest.co. Use code Sara for 20% off. That is KindredHarvest.co. Promo code Sara. This next story is, I think, maybe equally enraging to me. And I don't mean to. You guys know I love my president. I love my president. I spent yesterday, I referred back to what is now might be my favorite picture of President Trump. It's hard because like the mugshot's really cool too. But I love my president. I don't mean to criticize. But there are certain things that I'm like, what are we doing, guys? Number one is allowing an insurrection in Minnesota and just waiting for what? I don't know. Go get in there and protect your ICE officers and let them do their jobs. Okay. And number two, the Secret Service, the deep state, the FBI, the DOD. I mean, there is so much reform that is needed. But after 2 assassination attempts on President Trump's life, after, I realized the first one, Secret Service didn't do him any favors. He just happened to turn to glance at a chart that ended up saving his life. After there was a random break-in by some troon at JD Vance's house, you would think after all of these attempts on our vice president and president's life, we would be able to trust the Secret Service. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Unfortunately, it just gets even worse. Like every layer of the onion that you peel back, they've had a year now to get rid of the incompetency and promote or bring in people who actually know what they're doing, who can actually do the job, who actually take it seriously. That's not happening. And it upsets me because I'm scared for my president. I'm scared for his life. I am worried that he's trusting the wrong people because James O'Keefe just released this expose that there's a U.S. Secret Service agent. I don't know why these guys, they look the way that they do and they think that some smoke show is like coming to date them. That's never going to happen, guys. It's just James O'Keefe's people. I don't know why you guys keep falling for this. It's very, very uncomfortable that like we're hiring people to guard presidents' lives who really think that this isn't just some chick trying to get information from you. I guess we should be glad it's not like China. It's not like the CCP. It's just James O'Keefe. Wow, what a relief. But I want to play for you some of this Secret Service agent that was assigned to Vice President JD Vance, who was leaking sensitive security information to one of James's undercover reporters.
Can I see your badge again with your photo? You're so cute.
A current Secret Service agent on Vice President JD Vance's security detail.
When he's like walking, like where are you?
When you follow him, we'll have at least a minimum head and
gives away vital high-level security information to our undercover journalists.
We have different shifts. We have shift.
Tells her about detailed future travel plans for the vice president, and even sends her pictures with location metadata revealing where the president's convoy was located. potentially violating both the Secret Service NDA and United States federal law. And Tomas is fully aware of this. Quote, I signed paperwork, so if I don't have to get out information, I never do, otherwise I get in trouble. You really have to stand in awe of the lack of self-awareness.
They know how secret about what we do.
Tomas Escato also reveals that he voted for Biden and that he hates Trump and Vance's immigration policies.
Did you vote for Biden?
Yes, I did actually.
What do you think about like all the ICE stuff going on?
Yeah, I hate that shit.
Yeah.
They're employing taxes that shouldn't be employed.
I mean, what are we doing here, guys? What are we doing? I realize that, you know, they're like, oh, we have to, you know, we have to obey discrimination laws. No, I actually think if someone voted for Joe Biden and they are complaining on tape that they don't approve of ICE, of federal law enforcement officials going throughout the country and apprehending criminals, I'm sorry, there's no place for you at the Secret Service. That's like one of the only jobs where you're guarding someone's life. I think the bare minimum should be like, you like the person. Like, I think that it's probably a bad idea to surround yourself. If you're the president, you are the most important person in the entire world. In our position, no other country can say that. In our country, you are arguably the most important person in the entire world. I think that it's a pretty simple request that you have people guarding your life, protecting your life. You only surround yourself with people who agree and believe in your policy. Like, I feel like that's a very, very low bar. And here we are. And I bring this up because it's not just the Secret Service. It's the FBI. It's the DOJ. We've still got all of these holdovers, Biden holdovers, Obama holdovers, however far back you want to go. We've still got these people. And that's very, very dangerous. That is a dangerous situation. Now, obviously, this guy, they're already saying he's on administrative leave. He's been placed on administrative leave, and he has his clearance suspended. His access to the agency facilities and systems are revoked. But where's the actual consequence? You saw in James's video there, he just showed you, it was 18 U.S. Code 793. He not only violated his NDA, he also, in my opinion, violated federal law. It says gathering, transmitting, or losing defense information. Gathering, transmitting. I mean, he didn't lose it, but he did both of those, two out of the three things. And that's a penalty of either a fine or up to 10 years in prison. Throw the book at this guy. I get it. People are like, oh, well, they're only cute little pictures. He was only trying to impress a woman. Okay, cool. What happens when that woman is a Chinese spy? What happens when that woman is a Russian spy? What happens when that woman takes that information? Oh, you change shifts at this time and you have how many people? So there are this many people and you guys are all changing shifts at this time and this is where you're going to be and for how long you're going to be there. And this is the route that you usually take. Do you not see how quickly that can all go to hell? This is very, very, very dangerous. It very much worries me that our president and vice president are protected by people like that. I mean, you guys thought like the lesbian, the fat lesbian who couldn't like holster her gun, find her holster was the problem. You thought it ended there. It doesn't. And it very much worries me for our leaders. I really hope that they take that seriously. All right. I want to remind you guys, if you have not yet joined Blaze TV, make sure to do so. BlazeTV.com/Sara. You can save $20 with promo code Sara. That is BlazeTV.com/Sara. More to come. So with the stroke of a pen, Donald Trump, when he took office again, seemed to eliminate a lot of the DEI and trans insanity that we had taking place in this country, that we were all very anxious to stop. Like, hey, Sanity's entered the building again. Well, I regret to inform you that it's not over. The fight with evil is not over. The battle has not fully been won. They are still showing up at the Capitol, and this is actually insane. I don't know how else to put it. These people are insane. And also, as it turns out, in charge of your health care. So there was a Senate committee hearing this was protecting women, exposing the dangers of chemical abortion drugs. And you may be thinking to yourself, well, you just said this was a trans thing, not a pro-choice thing. Well, sort of, because Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri was asking one of the witnesses for this particular testimony, for this hearing, was asking a very, very simple question for one of the witnesses, and it soon turned very insane. And as you watch this, I want you to keep in mind he is speaking to a board-certified OB/GYN and medical school professor. Can't seem to understand basic biology. Watch.
Dr. Verma, I wasn't sure I understood your answer to Senator Moody a moment ago. Do you think that men can get pregnant?
I hesitated there because I wasn't sure where the conversation was going or what the goal was. I mean, I do take care of patients with different identities. I take care of many women. I take care of people with different identities. And so that's where I paused. I think, I wasn't sure where you were going with that.
Well, the goal is just the truth. So can men get pregnant?
Again, the reason I paused there is I'm not really sure what the goal of the question is.
The goal is just to establish a biological reality. You just said a moment ago that science and evidence should control, not politics. So let's just test that proposition. Can men get pregnant?
I take care of people with many identities, but
oh my gosh.
Can men get pregnant?
Many women that can get pregnant. I do take care of people that don't identify as women.
Can men get pregnant?
Again, as I'm saying,
let me just remind you what you testified to a moment ago. Science and evidence should control, not politics. So can men get pregnant? You're a doctor, I think.
Science and evidence should guide medicine.
Do science and evidence tell us that men can get pregnant? Biological men, can they get pregnant?
I also think yes/no questions like this are a political tool. And
no, yes/no questions are about the truth, doctor. Let's not make a mockery of this proceeding. This is about science and evidence, and I'm asking you. You know, the United States Supreme Court just heard arguments yesterday at great length on this question. This is not a hypothetical question. This is not theoretical. It affects real people in their real lives. And you're here as an expert, called by the other side as an expert, and you've been telling us that you follow, right, you're a doctor, and you follow the science and the evidence. So I just want to know, based on the science, can men get pregnant? That's a yes or no question. It really is, I think.
I think you're trying to reduce the complexity of a lot.
I'm not. I'm trying to get, it's not complex. I'm trying to get to an answer, and I'm trying to test, frankly, your veracity as a medical professional and as a scientist. Can men get pregnant?
I think you're also conflating male
and
female with...
No, I'm not conflating male and female. They're two different things. There's biological men and there's biological women. And I want to know, can men get pregnant?
What you were talking about is
oh my gosh.
You're not going to answer my question.
Biological males.
This isn't hard, doctor. Can men get pregnant? Yes or no?
Again, I would be more than happy to have a conversation with you that is not coming from a place of trying to be polarized and push.
I'm not trying to be polarizing. I'm trying to ask. I think it is extraordinary that we are here in a hearing about science and about women. And for the record, it's women who get pregnant, not men. We are here about the safety of women and science that shows that this abortion drug causes adverse health events in 11% of cases. That's 22 times greater than the FDA label, another fact you haven't acknowledged. And yet you won't even acknowledge the basic reality that biological men don't get pregnant. There's a difference between biological men and biological women. I don't know how we can take you seriously and your claims to be a person of science if you won't level with this on this basic issue. I thought we were past all of this, frankly. I can't believe we're still here talking about this.
I am a person of science, and I'm also someone here who's here to represent the complex experiences of my patients, and I don't think polarized language or questions serve that goal. I don't think they serve the American people.
It is not polarizing to say that there is a scientific difference between men and women. And I want this to be clear and for the record. It is not polarizing to say that women are a biological reality and should be treated and protected as such. That is not polarizing, that is truth. It is also, by the way, the United States Constitution, which offers unique protections to women in a variety of circumstances as women. And your refusal to recognize women as women and men as men is deeply corrosive to science, to public trust, and yes, to constitutional protections for women as women. And I think it's extraordinary that you would sit here and advance a political agenda that has been thoroughly discredited and rejected by the American people in this forum. And I'm glad we had this exchange because it is exceptionally clarifying. It is also in many ways quite depressing.
It really is. Great job by Josh Hawley, by the way. I know it was a kind of a long clip, but it was just so good. I wanted to play it. It is a sad reality. A medical professor, a medical school professor. This woman is going into medical school and she is teaching young people that I am a person of science and I represent all of the complex realities of my patients and I don't want to answer your very simple question. I don't want to answer. I think this is political. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Actually, it's very simple. You got an outie or you got an innie in between your legs. It's really that simple. It really is. It's really that simple. And these are the people in charge of your health care. These are the people in charge of setting policies. These people are still delusional. And you have to believe that this woman, she knows, right? Like she knows what the answer is. She's just scared that someone is going to see her say that and she's going to get canceled by her own community because they have radicalized all of these people into doing that. And now you have doctors who are just like still playing along with that. It's unbelievable. And by the way, as Josh Hawley mentioned, you've got at the Supreme Court, you've got this case that's happening right now that they're hearing arguments for involving, the trans community. And this is the one, of course, to whether or not we should, as a society, allow men, biological men in women's sports, which is obviously stupid and will always be a disaster, but they have to hear it anyway. And so even when Justice Alito presses the ACLU, they still cannot define what is a man or what is a woman. That is where we're at the Supreme Court this week.
Is it not necessary for there to be, for equal protection purposes, if that is challenged under the Equal Protection Clause, an understanding of what it means to be a boy or a girl or a man or a woman?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that definition? For equal protection purposes, what does it mean to be a boy or a girl or a man or a woman?
Sorry, I misunderstood your question. I think that the underlying enactment, whatever it was, the policy, the law, we'd have to have an understanding of how the state or the government was understanding that term to figure out whether or not someone was excluded. We do not have a definition for the court.
Like, what are we doing? What? Guys, kindergarten cop.
Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina.
Thanks for the tip.
I quote, boys have a penis, girls have a vagina. That's it. That's the definition. Kindergarten Cop gave you the definition. The movie gave you the definition you are seeking. And the whole point to that actual quote that was said by a 5-year-old is that even 5-year-olds can give you the definition. That's how easy it is. But lawyers who charge God knows what for billable hours still can't tell you what the definition is. And I would just like to, let's just end on this. we're in serious trouble. I know you guys realize that Ketanji Brown Jackson is not a biologist, but she has not stopped her insanity when it comes to this weird trans mind virus brain rot ideology.
This notion that this is really just about the definition of we accept that you can separate boys and girls, and we are now looking at the definition of a girl, and we're saying only people who were girl assigned at birth qualify.
Boy, was that DEI policy a really bad policy? Thanks, Joe Biden. Thanks to Joe Biden, you got the likes of Kamala Harris and Ketanji Brown Jackson, who between the two of them probably don't have two whole brain cells to rub together. Thank you so much, Joe Biden, for once again demonstrating through all of your DEI picks what a terrible, terrible policy it is to choose DEI only in your hiring. All right, we've got to take a quick break. More to come. I have a statement that I'd like to make. The other day, I called out Ashley St. Clair for being a conservative grifter, for being a total fraud, a feminist, and a grifter. And I just wanted to say, with a few days of personal reflection and how more things have transpired, I would like to go ahead and state that I was absolutely right. 100%. I have no regrets. She is a total fraud. So if you missed it, we were talking about her because, you know, she is, again, I know you're like, oh, who cares about an influencer? Well, I believe she has still over 1 million followers just on one platform, just on X. So people are listening to this chick. Now, I mean, she should have 0 followers on X. She should have 0 followers now. I don't know why anyone would still be following her. But these are people who do influence culture, who do influence the movement. And it's very harmful because, remember, she was one of the trailblazers. In fact, I was annoyed that she was one of the trailblazers for the whole speaking against this trans ideology, protecting women. She was a trailblazer. She got the book about making sure that our children knew that you could not turn yourself. If you are a girl, you cannot turn into a boy. If you are a boy, you could not turn into a girl. And I'm like, I could write that. I could write that book. That could be me. This was her in 2021. Conservative children's publisher Brave Books debuts with Elephants Are Not Birds. That was Ashley St. Clair's book. And now all of a sudden, she's like, actually, my views on trans is very harmful. And Elon is now suing her. Elon Musk is now suing her for custody of their child that they have together. And so now the very feminist grifter, Ashley St. Clair, is like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna go to CNN. I'm gonna go to CNN to talk crap about the people that I just aligned myself with 5 minutes ago. Here's some of that.
He posted about you, I'll be filing for full custody today, given her statements implying that she might transition a 1-year-old boy. Now, she's, I believe, talking about your child. Obviously, did not imply that in the post that you posted that he's responding to, which I want to read to everybody so they can hear it for themselves. You are apologizing for past comments that you'd made about the transgender community. You wrote, I feel immense guilt for my role and even more guilt that things I have said in the past may have caused my son's sister more pain. Your son's sister is another one of Musk's children who has transitioned.
It's a boy.
What's your response
it's a male.
when that's the post this week?
I'm not at liberty to discuss it further, but I think anyone with more than a 3rd grade reading comprehension level knows what I was saying there.
First of all, boy, those filters are working wonders on the pictures that she posts online. But that aside, you're not at liberty to discuss? Ma'am, you just showed up CNN's studio, like right there. You just showed up to their studio to discuss. And now all of a sudden you're not at liberty to discuss. Boy, I wish we could do like let's do a side-by-side of Ashley St. Clair now and Ashley St. Clair in her clearly heavily photoshopped images that she would post as thirst traps, mostly, I think, to secure Elon Musk, actually, because that was her plan all along. And now she's a scorned woman because she thought, I'm going to finally be the baby mama that Elon Musk settles down with. And that turned out not to be the case. I can't imagine why he didn't want to just settle down with Ashley St. Clair, the fraud. But she tried for years to do exactly what she did, trap him with a baby. May 2023, she's DMing people that Elon followed her or texting them, Elon followed me. I need his rocket babies, LOL. And look, I'll take one for the team, seduce Elon and get in a rocket to see what's up. I need a caption to seduce Elon Musk. This was a very, very long plan. And by the way, that was 2023. 2020, she was posting that she needed something to get Elon Musk's attention for a marriage proposal. And Greg Price, who she was talking to, who is another conservative, large conservative voice on Twitter, said he's got a kid with a woman already, seems unlikely to work out. She's like, actually, he has 7 kids and goes through women pretty fast. So I would like to be one of those women. So I'm going to pretend like I'm conservative, and then I'm going to get knocked up by the richest man in the world. And then when it doesn't work out, all of a sudden, I love the trans community. I love the trans community so much, actually, that she removed her name as the author from the book. Now Brave Books is releasing this statement. They're like, all right, yeah, we obviously, it's become increasingly apparent Ashley no longer aligns with the message of our book or our mission. So we've reached the mutual agreement that Ashley's name will be removed from the Elephants Are Not Birds in future prints. And I would just like to ask, what is she doing with all of the money that she made from that book? The money's already been made. It's 4 years old, 5 years old almost. The money's already been made. If she actually cared about the damage that she caused to the mentally ill community, the trans community, if she really cared about the damages that she caused to that community, write them a check for whatever you made off of that book. Oh, wait, you won't, because you're a total fraud and a phony. And by the way, I'd just like to play one more video of Ashley St. Clair's thoughts. Now gained all this notoriety on X, now all of a sudden posting on TikTok, I believe, that anyone who uses X is a Nazi. It is alarming how quickly these feminist women are able to grift into our movement. And then the moment that they realize that it is no longer advantageous for them, oops, it turns out they're feminists all along. They actually really love abortion, and they really love trans, and they really love all of these things that they were fighting against. Now, all of a sudden, oopsies, they really, really love. And it's just so absolutely disgusting. She could have taken his millions of dollars he was offering her to live a good life with their kid, and she could have just gone away. She chose not to. Shame on you, Ashley St. Clair. I'm glad that you've been frauded. We'll see you guys tomorrow.